So guess who enters in? Believers. You say, well, I'm a believer. But what do you believe? You can believe He forgave you of your sins. You can believe you're going to heaven. Do you believe He loves you all the time? Do you believe that you have the identity of righteousness in His sight through the blood all the time? Do you believe you're holy, pure, and blameless and above reproach in His sight all the time because of Colossians chapter 1? Because if you believe that, it'll make a difference in your life, in your countenance, in your pursuit of Him. I promise you, church, you will never pursue intimacy with Jesus unless you're settled on how He sees you first. If you see how He sees you, you're inspired to approach Him with boldness. And you say, yeah, but you don't know what I did this morning. Yeah, but I know what He did when He rose from the dead, when He went to that cross. I know what He accomplished. I know what His blood speaking. And I'm not making light of what you did this morning. What I'm saying is, how did what you do this morning keeps you from coming to Him? That's the reason you need to go to Him. You start to let your identity revolve around what you did this morning, so that grays your identity out. That grays your ability to see how He sees you. Now you're nothing more than what you just did. Now you value yourself less than who you really are, and then you keep living up to the low value which you behold yourself in, and that's called a cycle. And because your heart's alive and you care, that cycle starts to condemn you and crush you. And you cry inside. And you feel like you're dying inside because you don't want to be there, which means you're not as lost as you think because you care. You couldn't condemn somebody if their heart wasn't pure, because it would have nowhere to land. They wouldn't care. Condemnation wouldn't even be a factor if somebody was as bad as the condemned person thinks they are. You wouldn't care enough to be condemned if you were as bad as you've judged. I know you've had people do this. They come to you and they tell you their stuff and they cry. And they tell you their secrets and their sins. And they're crying. You ever see that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what I tell them? I say, man, I'm sure excited to see how the gospel's purifying your heart. And they go, purifying my heart? Didn't you hear what I just said I did? Well, I heard what you said you did. We'll talk about it in a second, but I see who you are, and that excites me. And if we're not careful, we're going to miss something here. You're going to start letting what you did be who you are instead of what He did be who you are. Because the fact that you're crying and you care, this thing's about to break in your life. Unless you identify yourself through it instead of Him. I'm excited for you. And they go, whoop. And they usually cry because they want to believe. Why do they want to believe? Because they're alive right here. And the devil would love to change their mind.